disposição. Tem uma galera mais assim.
Bien, estuvo perfecto. Me gustó.
Tiene muy mala leche.
Muy bueno.
Y hay una colega que me pregunta, ¿qué es Kardashian? Digo, joder. Digo, vale, entonces. Digo, no digo nada ya.
Pessoal, seguinte, o professor Sérgio também vai estar oferecendo uma ski, né? Então vai estar rodando uma lista de eventuais interessados nessa disciplina, que tem como título de Animal Forest. Ok? Quem quiser fazer, é bem curtinho, 2 dias só.
É o dia todo.
Obrigado.
Eu posso mais, não, não está coberto, esqueci, eu só trouxe 2. Não, você vai receber depois eu te deixo.
Quando te olha esse cara?
Esqueci, faltou um.
Pia Curry. Pode ser. Onde é que tá?
Tá pelo canal LED. Eu só tô tentando colocar o título, que eu acabei começando com o título da atividade. Eu não consegui Mas já está, se tu entrar no os caras de lá, eu já te mando também no WhatsApp. O e-mail.
Tá, então é bom pra gente divulgar. Tem horas allá. Vamos hacer. 5 minutos, un minuto más.
Cuando tú quieras, sí. No, la gente va llegando, va viniendo.
¿Qué prisa? Bueno, para ustedes, por su inglés, ¿está bien?
Y yo, si quieres en inglés o si quieres en español, a lo mejor ellos lo van a hacer más
Okay.
a mí, yo hablo muy en español, hablo muy bien.
Nome do professor?
En inglés también.
Nome do professor?
Sergio Rossi.
Sérgio Rossi tem 2 S?
2 S.
Sí. Como tú prefieras.
Estamos tentando estimular el inglés. Entonces, los detalles son
Todos están en inglés. Mis slides están todas en inglés.
Temos.
La mayoría de las clases las doy en inglés, en Italia y en España las doy en inglés. Pero en Fortaleza, por ejemplo, cuando doy clase, ellos lo tienen que hacer en español. Yo hablo también lento, tranquilo, además no tengo acento. Quiere decir que no es difícil, mi inglés es muy básico.
Bueno. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think to see here in front of? Closer, please. Why all this distance between the Professor Sergio and everybody?
You have here. I wouldn't make
He
any
will
kind
not
of
bite
question.
you, I'm sure.
I want to signal to some of you. No problem.
Okay, as you were saying, Professor Sergio is a very good friend, is an extraordinary researcher, and well, of course we should thank you very much for coming.
No, I thank you too.
We should, well, Professor Sergio is a Spanish guy that is now working in Italy, but he's a bit Brazilian too,
Yes.
because he's working with our colleagues from Fortaleza for a couple of years, I don't know.
2012 I started to come here to Brazil.
So-
my 5th time.
Sergio wrote more than 10 books, a lot of papers, and some very, very interesting topics about life. Well, he will have the opportunity to tell you all about all of that this week, because Sergio will spend this week with us. So, thank you, Sergio. They are yours. So, let's listen about Via Curie.
Thank you very much, Paolo, and thank you to all of you to just have this opportunity to be here with all of you. For me, it's an honor and a pleasure to be in Brazil. I have to say before I start that Brazil is one of the best places in the world. I have been going around all the world and working in Germany, France, United States, Mexico, blah blah blah. And it's the 5th time that I come here, so this means something. This means that Brazil, not only because of the beautiful landscapes and the beautiful food, and the beautiful thing is, I think, is the people. I don't know why, but it's the people that is just attracting me so much. I cannot explain why, but it's like that. And this is not the starting sentence that I say also to German people, also to other people. I say it really from the bottom of my heart. So, because these are very complicated times, not only in Brazil, but everywhere, I just want to start with a short talk, okay? With this more what we are scientists and why we are in some way in this room, okay? And then, after that, I will make the talk of the scientific stuff, which is a little bit much boring, but it's also beautiful because they have very beautiful images. If the thing is boring, don't worry, the images are fantastic. I really love to put really fantastic images so the people is not bored and can follow me. One of the questions that many people, my family, my friends that are not involved in science, is they ask me if the oceans are dying. probably you start to have these kind of questions from your family or the people that is around you. Are the oceans dying? Are the oceans in a way that they cannot have a return phase? Are we destroying oceans, coastal environments, and of course land environments? By my specialty is the oceans. The immediate answer is no. No, they are not dying. Don't worry about the oceans, and don't worry about the landscape. Nature will survive. You can be sure about that. The problem is us, it's not nature. Nature is a pale and cold mother that stay there and say, oh yeah, you are doing that? You are going to the suicide? It's okay. I have no problems with that. I have 5,000,000,000 years more in which the sun and the earth will be separate in a way that the earth will not be burned by the sun. So I have 5,000,000,000 years more of liquid water. So I don't care about you. You have to care about yourself. Remember this because it's very important. So you go to the UNESCO, and these are the objectives of the UNESCO, okay? This is the boring stuff. Actions to reduce stress on and maintain or restore the structure and function of marine ecosystem for equitable and sustainable use of marine resources and ecosystems. Pound 1. Pound 2. Actions that support the green economy concept leading to alleviation of poverty and promotion of sustainable ocean sectors and livelihoods, including actions to improve implementation at local levels through participatory processes. Fantastic. This is Pound 3. UNESCO says, actions resulting in policy, legal and institutional reforms for effective ocean governance, including in the high seas, and strengthening the institutional framework, mandate and coordination of United Nations bodies with marine competencies. And Pound 4, UNESCO says, actions supporting marine research, monitoring and evaluation, technology and capacity transfer, as a means for improving knowledge, addressing emerging issues, developing capacities in support of sustainable use of the oceans. This is a fantastic black to white paper and text that nobody cares. The truth is that oceans are highly impacted. We have impact of excess fisheries. We have impact about the overexploitation of marine resources. It's a truth. We have impacts about massive tourism and coastal management. We have impacts of this kind of overwhelming capacity that we have to just make the things wrong. For example, I love people that love tortoises, but if the tortoises are going to the beach, it's because I think they really want to swim there and want to lay their eggs. Or if this poor dugongo, in this case manatee, sorry, is just eating, I don't know, if having 10, 20, 30 people around snorkeling is the best idea. I don't know if the best idea to just have this overwhelming capacity to contaminate and to pollute several areas of the world, not only with plastics. We are the major issue in this moment about the plastics, but other things. And the problem is that all these things are synergically working, like also alien species, to have a new world, an Anthropocene that is really changing our patterns. And it's changing also the evolution of the planet. But this one is the with very big letters, the problem. This is warming. This is climate change. And this is, above all, the most really bad problems that we have to face in the near future. And this is truth. You can say whatever you want. You can deny. You can just postpone, which is the thing that we are doing now. Not only stupid politicians, but also as persons. We are postponing this problem. Of course, this is the very, very worst scenario in which we cannot control anymore the things of the warming and all the things related with the increment, with the increase in CO2. So I think we are like this guy. This is us. You know? I mean, extremely clever guy, in which, well, I don't know what he was thinking, but he's just putting down this log, putting down this tree. I don't know. I think we are in this way making and going really to the collapse. But even if we really are lost or very lost in all this really complicated, very, very complicated panorama, in this very complicated scenario, we still have some tools to address it. The tools were there always, but we have to just be confident that the tools are real and the tools can at least alleviate the situation. Because I have to be very honest with you, I'm one of those people which knows and is really concerned about the future. I have my kids, I have two daughters and one son, and I know that them and you will have a very, very, very big problem in the near future. And the near future is the next 5-10 years, no more. We are already in the problem. We are already facing this spiral of positive feedback, and we have to try to alleviate the situation in some way. But you have to understand what really science is, and really you have to understand why we are here in this world. Science is really complicated. This is science. Science is attributes, characteristics. You have the method. Even within the method, you have the learning, monitor, implementation. It's really complicated how to manage science. But to simplify it, you may see this. Science works on the frontier between knowledge and ignorance. Not afraid to admit, we don't know. There's no shame in that. The only shame is to pretend that we have all the answers. This is Neil deGrasse Tyson. I suppose that some of you know him. He's a very, very, very good person that is making very good science outreach and is in the war of trying to making understand that we have to do the things in another way. What is being a good scientist? Look at this video. I really love it.
We want to make sense of nature and science. I mean, it is too unfathomable that everything in the universe was once crunched into something smaller than an atom. But you don't really know that. Well, you're just believing Stephen Hawking, and that's a matter of faith and his abilities. Yes, you don't know it yourself. You're accepting that because someone told you. Yeah. Well, but science is constantly proved all the time. You see, if we take something like any fiction, any holy book, any other fiction, and destroyed it, okay, in 1,000 years' time, that wouldn't come back just as it was. Whereas if we took every science book, right, and every fact, and destroyed them all, in 1,000 years they will be back, because all the same tests would be the same result. That's good. That's really good. If you base medicine on science, you cure me. If you base the design of planes on science, they fly. If you base the design of rockets on science, they reach the moon. It works. Bitches.
That was Richard Dawkins. He's really, really a very angry man and very strong. He has no problem to say you are a silly, you are a stupid. But not because you are not a scientist, because you try to do not take into account science to make things. And this is what happens with plain earths and with anti-vaxxers and with climate change deniers and a long. We are really in a problem. And now, also the problem is that we do have to distinguish very well what is science and what is not science. Science is the willingness to change with new evidence. The pseudoscience is fixed ideas. You need ruthless peer review. Yes, I know it's very hard, but you need it. No peer review is the pseudoscientist. Takes into account of all new discoveries, selects only favorable discoveries, invite criticism, sees criticism as a conspiracy, verifiable results, non-repeatable results. and limits claims of usefulness, claims of widespread usefulness, and accurate measurements, ballpark measurements. I take what I can, I take what I want, I take what I really need for my results. In fact, science has been changing during time, and we have to think that before science was a little much more, from my point of view, was better in some way. Now, and I think here there is some professor that may know that this is true. This is you, when you are young, before graduate school, I'm going to research whatever I want. And then entering the wheel of science, of actual science, and say, I'm going to research whatever my professor wants. I'm going to research whatever my tenure committee wants. I'm going to research whatever my grant committee wants. And then, once you are retired, I'm going to research whatever, and you die. And this is also a problem because science is in some way is entering in some dangerous, very dangerous wheel in which we are pursued to make, in some way, to make very, 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 very hard work, which have been always there, but also to prove ourselves in a way in which is not so fair, and in some way in which we are not working, and we are not all we don't have all the same opportunities. Before we have publish or perish, publish in high impact journals or perish, and then now it's published frequently in high journal impact, and maybe you wouldn't perish. And this is truth. Some of us, I'm almost 50 years old, are arriving to the conclusions that, come on, I mean, I made whatever I could. I mean, we made many things, we publish in many papers, we have high impact factors papers, and even that, you see that in science, going on and going on and going on is very, very hard. In some way, this is the change of mentality, and this can be really, really dangerous. Darwin says, I must find explanation for this phenomenon in order to truly understand nature. The modern scientist says something like, I must get the results that fits my narrative, so I can get my speaker into nature. And this is the problem. Sometimes, even us, even the people that is working in some topics that are not so fancy, are not so fantastic, are not so fashion victims, even us, it's working sometimes to say, hey, what's cool now? What's the new things that can be highly impacting the editor that says, yes, this deserves a place in nature or in science. So this is entering in a very, 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 very dangerous way. And it's because, I'm sorry to say, that science is also entering the capitalistic way. It's like that. I mean, this is not anarchism or communism or socialism. It's the truth. Everything is now under a special will in which you have a free market, and then you have to compete for resources, and competing with these resources, you just have to be the best, but it's not enough to be the best. You have to sell yourself, you have to always improve, which is good. But the rules are so unfair that makes you think about it a little bit more. This is the truth, and if you are a scientist, and you are a young scientist, this is what happens. Some people think scientists are eureka when doing experiments, but this is the truth. It's burning, it's not working, the culture, results are not very good, it's burning again, stupid piece of crap machine, and I hate science. I think everyone here has had this problem on the lab. Oh, it's okay, that's okay, it's not bad. I mean, science is how we, as any other work in this sense. However, the scientist has a different mind. The true scientist has a different mind. And when you see, for example, fireworks, a normal person that has no preparation in science may see only the colors. Sometimes, some of us see also the prevalence in the fireworks of some of the elements that are inside these fireworks, like copper, like sodium, like barium, etc. So being a scientist is quite different, but you have to think, you have to take into account that even if you have method, rigorous protocols, replicability, even if you have all these things, that I have been saying during the previous minutes, this is the truth. The truth is that the first thing of the scientist is be curious. The first thing is waste your time just contemplating. How much time has passed since you have been contemplating nature for the last time? Whatever it is, stars, a river, near the shore, walking in a forest or whatever. Just contemplating and not being inside an office studying. In fact, really, you have to be curious. You have to contact in some way with nature, which sometimes can even be grateful with you, you know, and let you apply what is the best tool for scientists. And it's not the rigorous, and it's not the replicability, and it's not the statistic thing, it's the imagination. Some people think that scientists have no imagination, and it's exactly the opposite. The good scientist is a person that has a very strong imagination and can connect points and have new ideas. It's one of the most powerful tools that you have, because when you are a scientist, you see the things in another way completely different. Respect other persons. This woman is looking at this pillar and is looking at the world pantheon that was alive 2,000 years ago or so. Be perseverant always, because sometimes, even if you fail once and another time, the diamonds are there, so you have to be perseverant, and science gives you the tools to be perseverant. If you are good and your idea is good, this makes you, it gives you the possibility to make this kind of approach. And have an holistic vision. This also is very important. The holistic vision means that you don't have to discard other branches of science. If you can, even one of the best things that you can do is try to approach also to social science, to mix social science with nature science, to mix physics, chemistry, biology, geology with sociology, economy, and work together to have this kind of more holistic vision of what science is. Because really science needs a complete vision to make things work. And the last thing that you have to do is writing. And I know that many of you are not so happy writing, because you love to have an idea, you love to go into the field to make your experiments, you love to make your analysis, and that's good. And then when you arrive in front of your computer, you say, well, yeah, but it's really boring. No, writing is not boring, because writing is the only tool that we have to communicate our results. And it's the only way that I have to see what you have done from Europe. What's your experiment, and what is your experience, what are your results, what is your advance. Writing, of course, is very hard. Who said contrary? I mean, this is you, and these are all the peer reviewing, and at the end is the editor that is waiting for you. The dev is still waiting for you until the paper is accepted. Yes, it's published or perished, and in some way, some of us have been felt like that, you know, manuscript submitted, manuscript accepted. Yes, in some way, sometimes it's hard, sometimes it takes 1 year, 1.5 years, it takes a long time. I have some papers like that, really, it's really terrible. But at the end of the line, there is something, you know, at the end of the line, when you have the evolution of your PhD, your evolution of your master thesis, your evolution of your postdoc or whatever, at the end there is something there. Even if sometimes takes billions of years to finish your PhD thesis, but it's okay. So, in some way, writing has to be this.
He's a wonderful writer as well.
It's talking about Darwin.
This book, this is the first edition.
Origin of the Species.
And what is marvelous about it is that anybody can read any page and it makes absolute sense. It's not full of jargon, it's full of argument and observation. And that's another reason why I admire him so much. There is grandeur worlds less beautiful or less wonderful have been and are being evolved.
It's clear that David Attenborough has very clear what is really science. Science is not only for the scientific people. Science has to be transmitted to other people. This is really important, and this is one of the steps that has been lost, and now we are trying to recover. We do need to get involved people that is not scientists to make them understand that things are changing, but the things also can be changed in some way. So, citizen science and scientific outreach is very important. Writing as a scientific journalist is good. Working, playing with kids, different games, different things. Write books. Yes, I wrote some books also for people, for kids, and wrote also books of criticism and science. It's good. It's not essential. You don't have to be a writer. I love to write. I mean, I really love it. It's one of my favorite things, is writing, even a scientific paper or a novel. Writing and put my imagination there is one of my best, the things that I can make, and I can make very happy. Because you have to transmit this idea. When you are talking about dangerous animals, for example, you see this. Sharks kill 5 people annually. Did you know that? But hippos, for example, have a beautiful image from the Disney, and I love it, from the Disney film of fantasy. You see all this, these hippos dancing, was fantastic. Hippos are extremely dangerous animals that can just sweep out your boat and kill people, just spreading apart your parts if you are entering their territory. So this is true. But if you see what is the most dangerous animal, the most dangerous animals are sharks. Sorry, I have to say something. Mosquitoes are killing something 750,000 people every year, only at the tail. But mosquitoes are small, nobody cares. But they are killing much more people than the poor sharks that have this beautiful film, I love it, Jaws, in which Steven Spielberg put the sharks in the center of the scene and said, hey guys, this is the problem of the oceans. And these poor guys never lost this kind of time that make them the most dangerous animal. So to just end this talk, this small talk that I wanted to give you, is what happened. Well, this is what happened. Science has been cancelled because your parents prefer to believe in magic. Because it's much easier. It's much easier to believe in magic. It's much easier to go in the strike forward, in the pathfinder, in the place in which is quite simple to arrive. And this is the truth. Probably you are not aware of that, but we are already in a war. From many years we are in a war. And I'm aware that we are in a war. And this war will last for years. And I don't know what will be the results of this war. It's not like worldwide Second World War, First World War. It's a different kind of war. But it's a war in which there is one people that wants to maintain some functioning of the planet, and other people that understand that this functioning of the planet is not a good thing. It's really making us on the edge, on the brink, not of the extinction, I don't think human being will be extincted, but of a very, very different world in which will be much, much harder to live. So it's truth that negationists is very well structured. Don't think they are not very well structured. They know very well what they are doing. Negationism has born in 1970s. And if you see and you're curious about that, you will see many, many books and many, many things, many articles, many papers, many notes, many editorials in which they started to work in 1970s to not only to deny climate change, but to make something like an erosion of what environmentalism was. They were not interested that environmentalism goes on, so they were always attacking any kind of environmentalist issue. Pollution, climate change, coastal management, demography, overfishing, blah, blah, blah. The thing is that now, these people start to wake up not because climate change threatens our existence, they are really bored of that, but because climate change threatens their economy. And this is starting to make change something, because they understand that they really have a problem. Not only we have a problem, but they have a problem. In fact, I agree with John Olivier, which I value very much, says, what if North Americans are skeptical of climate change? Who gives a shit? That doesn't matter. You don't need people's opinion on a fact. You might as well have a pool asking, which is bigger, 5 or 15? Do owls exist? Are there hats? I mean, it's not a matter in which you have to think about, you may have an opinion. And in this way, this guy, I think, gives you the king. His name is Rice Tyson.
What is reliable, what is not reliable? What should you believe, what should you not believe? And when you have people who don't know much about science, standing in denial and rising to power, that is a recipe for the complete dismantling of our reformed democracy. One of the great things about science is that it is an entire exercise in finding what is true. This is science. It's not something to toy with. It's not something to say, I choose not to believe E equals MC squared. You don't have that option. When you have established scientific emergent truth, it is true whether or not you believe in it. And the sooner you understand that, the faster we can get on with the political conversations about how to solve the problems that face us. So once you understand that humans are warming the planet, you can then have a political conversation about that. And every minute one is in denial, you are delaying the political solution that should have been established years ago. Recognize what science is and allow it to be what it can and should be in the service of civilization. It's in our hands.
Science has been always at the service of humanity, and you know very well. We are not a religion at all. We can be always, if face and say, no, this is not truth, prove it, counter-prove it. We are always also insecure because we are working on statistics and on models, and we are not sure about everything because, as I told you before, we are walking step by step. But once you understand that we do need to change things, to change our modern way to live, then if science is supporting this and giving you the tools, we have to try to understand that this may be the way. There are no magic solutions, I can assure you this. And of course, you are the future, not me. I'm sorry about that. I made the mess and I gave it to you. And you have the mess now. You and of course the following generations that will have to face very, very huge problems. Science is a tool that can be used for this. Science is a tool that can be used to make things different. And always in every town, in every place of the world, when there will be a student and there will be a scientist or a philosopher or a teaching of a language teaching or whatever, there will be always people that will be waiting for your explanations and to solve the problems with this kind of tools. Tools that we have, but we have to apply. So this was an introductory talk just to give you some keys. So now, let's go to science.
So, can they present some comments or questions, Sergio?
Yes, of course.
Just in case, guys, can you send...
You want to comment? I mean, this is not, it's more than comment and make an opinion. That
Yes, it was quite important. Yesterday, during the dinner, we were discussing about this kind of thing, and we realized that, man, I think it's the moment to discuss this kind of thing. Maybe this is a kind of necessary thing to have. And after 1 week or a couple of weeks that we are facing problems in our CNPQ, in our system of education, in everywhere we have problems. So, well, let's start like that. Comments and questions.
comments, questions, experiences that you may have, opinions, something. Don't be shy. This is not an exam.
Of course, we just got to the point. I agree with everything. I will even need some of these slides because I talked about that for the undergrads.
I will give
But you have a very good compilation of images.
Exactly, I don't have any problem. I will
Man,
give you
great,
Yes, I mean,
Yeah, now that's very good. Let's go.
I
Science.
And if you are shy because you are thinking, oh, this is English, talk in Portuguese, no problem. I understand perfectly Portuguese, and no problem with that, really. If you want to just make, as also in other representations, so on. If you want to make something, a question or some observation in Portuguese, that will be fine, no problem with that. Come on, I mean, it cannot be the language that the obstacle that you have to just express your opinion or whatever.
So Sergio, a great talk. I think your talk made my heart beat really fast, and I think we are living a difficult moment right now, like not just in Brazil, United States, and Europe. And I just joined a group that are discussing this type of things. And one idea of us is go in the street and put a sign like, let's drink some coffee and eat some cake and talk about things like science or politics, because I don't think we need to have more knowledge. We already knows a lot.
Yes.
But the knowledge that we have here in university, it's
Exactly.
not going outside this place. So I think more than publish a paper on science or this kind of journals, we need to do some difference in people around us. And I don't know. And I know that the future is, we always like to talk, oh, the young people, you need to make the difference. No, everybody needs to make the difference.
Yes, I agree with you. You know the movement Extinction Rebellion?
No.
No.
Oh, the girl from...
From United Kingdom, Extinction Rebellion, that is now spreading all over the world. I mean, Extinction Rebellion is like that. It's, come on guys, what do you have to do? We have to just move in this way and no problem, or we're going extinct.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I mean, it's a choice. But what I don't want is that in 12, 15 years, we say, come on, we could do something to change it. I know that change the things. I saw my first time that I saw climate change was 1989, when it was the first IPCC. And I can assure you, I remember the news in the television. With this, I remember the images and said, 1989, I said, what? Scientists say that we could have a problem with medium confidence, because you realize low, medium and high confidence, of drought, of floods, of hurricanes, of sea level rise, blah, blah, blah. And they said in 1989, and that was the moment in which the machine starts to just try to do not transmit to the people and say, no, you are good, no problem. And step by step, this low, medium confidence, if you read now the IPCC reports, is high confidence. High confidence is like that. And it's even worse because you see that the models, and it's showing the models that just say what temperature is going on and what is the trend, are very conservative. And now the scientists said, well, we were wrong. You were wrong. Yes, it's worse. It's worse. It's worse. The Arctic, for example, is going faster, 70 times faster than the frost of the permafrost than previously thought. 70 times faster. Because it's a positive feedback. I remember this positive feedback, to heard about this positive feedback, this, you know, more CO2, less ice, less albedo, blah, 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 and more permafrost that was just going out of the Siberia, of Canada, Greenland, and so on and so on. And that in a certain moment, there will be a tipping point in which we just have this positive feedback and all runs much faster. We passed, I have to say that, we passed this tipping point. I'm sorry, but we passed the tipping point. Now, things will go faster. And what will happen? I don't know. I don't know, but all the models say that there will be places on the Earth, especially in the tropical and equatorial part, that will arrive to 63, 65 degrees centigrade. We cannot live at 65 degrees centigrade. It's just impossible. We don't have our metabolism that allows us to live in 65 degrees centigrade. Some thermophilic bacteria have, they will be very happy. But we don't have this possibility, so there will be big migrations, people will move from one part to the other world, and we will have a really big problem all over the world.
Sergio,
Yeah.
thank you for our talk. So something that is happening in our college program is that the students, they are aware of the situation and they want to do something for this situation and they don't know exactly what to do. And sometimes they are so worried about their PhD thesis and all their duties, everything that they have to learn to do a good PhD or to write on paper, that they don't have the boost to continue doing this kind of outreach actions. And then in our program, we decided to plan on outreach actions so that all the students could be engaged, making things for Instagram or for Facebook, and to feed the site and try to do something like, if they are doing a PhD work, then they should write something for real people and to feed this media, you know?
That's a very good idea. And as Paulo said yesterday, just try to decompress also the students about the targets. And the targets are very important. And you still have to work on your PhD thesis, on your master thesis. Of course, studying. It's okay. But we have to react in some way, and we have to just start to move in another way. And we cannot be negative, even if the problem is extremely huge. As David Attenborough said, this documentary, this very fantastic old man, 93 years old, that is full of energy, said, we cannot be negative, in the sense that if we are negative, it's okay. Let's go, let's just cross our arms here, wait for the worst, and that's all. It's try to think in another way, which will be not very simple, will be extremely complicated, because at the end of everything, there is only one thing, is consume less things. Everything, consume less things. And this is crashing, this is opposite to the view that the world has to permanently grow. One of the talks that I give is about energy in general, and then about energy coming from the seas and so on. And one of the things that I say is, we think that we can permanently grow, and we know that this is completely stupid. Nothing is permanently growing in nature, nothing, and we are part of nature, and that's all that I have to say. So there are two kinds of people, from my point of view in this moment, that have this mentality. People that is not aware, and economists. And the economists say, no, but we have to grow. And say, no, we cannot permanently grow, because then we permanently have to invest more and more energy, and more energy, and more energy. And we are thinking about the possibility to optimize this energy. But nobody, for example, and optimize processes, energy, materials, but we are not thinking about the possibility to live in a much simpler way. And we need to go to the supermarket and have 30 or 40 different kinds of bread. Really? I saw this in a documentary 2 years ago in Germany. And yes, of course, I wanted to go there and have 30 different kinds of bread. Okay. You know how much it costs this? Because 75% of this bread goes to the garbage. Did you know that? Because the bread there that you don't take because you don't want this bread this day, you want the other one, you know. You want the whichever one, or you want one that is yellow, or the other one that is soft. The other one just gets harder and gets to the waste. These kind of things will be very difficult to change because people will say, okay, we are returning to the past. We're not returning to the past. We need obligatory to think what are the limits of growth, which are the real limits of growth. And you're right, you have to just decompress and give these tools to the students to start to think about how to spread the word in some way.
Yeah, and maybe if they have the option to make their study reach people, more people, they will also start to think about what they are really doing, considering if they are going to the supermarkets and really wanting to have all kinds of breads. Because sometimes we work on that, but in our own way to live, we are still living in the old way, you know?
And the people that is up there, you know, in the club, the people that is not here but decide about what we have to do, etc., 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 is very concerned about their future, but not, from my point of view, not because of the possibility to read the earth, to just go into the collapse, but what will happen with them if we are really angry. That's the problem. I saw an editorial that I can pass you, I can look it for it, of a catedrátic, of a professor titular of Caltech. Okay? This guy is expert in future processes. And he was invited by one big guy paying $250,000, which was fantastic. You say, wow, they are giving to me, I will give a plenary session to people that wants to hear me, and they will pay very well in a quite remote place. Well, there was not very much people. There were only 12 men there, sit around him and say what we can do to save or us, what we can do, because this is getting worse and worse. Do we or will we arrive with the artificial intelligence to have the power to minimize the impacts of people that will look for us, not with very good intentions? And we get frozen about that, say, well, I thought they wanted to talk about the future and they only wanted to have an answer about how to save themselves. And this is human. Don't get wrong about this. It's human. No, they are not the bad people. No, they have the power and they are humans like us. And of course we have the sensibility and the idea that things have to change. They don't care. And this is the truth. Whatever we see about it, they don't care. They only want to maintain the system in which, here for example in Fortaleza, the people was very worried about people that was young people like you that were buying bikes and going by feet to people. Young people like my son and my daughters, they don't want a car. They don't want to own a house. They don't want to own anything. They just don't care. It's another generation in which all this consume of things is not in their minds. At least my sons and at least the people that is around me. And Volkswagen, Ford, Opel, Mercedes are desperate. Of course they are, because they don't want to buy anything. And they are desperate because they don't want to buy anything. Now we will share a car with my friends. My idea was to have my own car. I want my own car. I want to be free and have this car for me. And they don't want that. Now I will go with a bike of 100 reales or 200 reales going there. No, you don't. You have to go with your car. No, I don't care. So can you obligate these people? Well, they are now trying to do it with the electric car. The electric car is not consumed, it's fantastic. Read about the electric car, please. Read it carefully as a scientist, and you will say how much pollutant is an electric car. Not because of the electricity, but because all the materials that has in the batteries. Blah, blah, blah. So, we still have this idea that we have to go on, go on, go on, go on. Okay. I mean, I'm on the wheel, and it will be very difficult for me to, I will help in any case, in any place, and with any people. But it's the young people that has to change completely things, from my point of view. They have the power to just push the system in another way.
Thank you, Sergio.
Thank you for a nice talk. I was wondering that regarding this current context that we are living in the academia, what are your impressions about this thing about fitting in this productivity chain in an academic context?
Yeah.
Or some things, some alternatives like the slow science movement that you have in Europe. Could you talk about?
In fact, I think this has to be improved. One of the next big problems that we have now is, for example, all these impact factor journals that you need to pay. You know Science Hub? Of course you know. You know Science Hub?
Yes.
This Russian woman, okay? I use it. I love this woman. I have a very big poster with this woman. This is pirating. Yes. But she understood what is science. Science is sharing.
Yes.
I don't want to have my paper that you have to pay $30 to read my paper. Come on. Really? I mean, I was completely upset with this thing. So what we have to do is really, and in France they are doing that, of course, they are always really in the, they are in the edge of the lance. The French people is really incredible. They can be special because French people is special, but they are making a platform, the scientists are making a platform. It will be open access and free, and will be made by scientists. And this is what we have to do. Just get foul of these editorials. I'm sorry about that. I work also with these editorials. I published books with Springer Nature, with Oxford, academic. I mean, I know, but what are they doing to us? I mean, I want that you read my papers, and you read my book. No, it's not free. I publish a book now that is The Animal Forest. Guess, it's 700 euros. You have to pay. You want it? I have the PDF. I give it you immediately. Immediately. Please, sir, can you send me the chapter, the whole book? Thank you very much. Yes, of course. Everything. Come on. Science is this, is sharing all the time. And contacting. And this is the problem of this. It can be said like a communist, the capitalism. This is truth. I mean, it's just making things with a determined value. So we are the people that is working on science, and we are making the good product. Yes, slow science is just, we can stay here hours talking, I can assure you. But one of the things is that, for example, you make a project and you fragmented your things to make many papers. Because you know that at the end of the year, they give you more money, for example, for your lab, if you have 5 instead of 2 papers. The question is that 2 papers with very huge amount of information, slowly digested and really good thing, could be much better than have 5 or 6. I did it. I'm not a saint, I'm not. I did it because I did it. You say, okay, just split this apart. I will make another paper with this. I did it. I don't do it now. I mean, it's many years ago. They say, okay. But because I have a more stable position. So this kind of thing has to be also pushed and improved by the people that can do it, which is people of fixed positions like us that have these tools and say, hey, stop. I mean, we have to think about it and have to just rethink everything.
But making a parallel with the cartoon that you showed us, do you think this is a matter of the development of the career? I mean, in your case, it's okay to say that, oh, now I take a little bit more time to work on this, but
we have
for
to change it.
For them?
Yeah, we have to change it
Yes.
for you.
Yes.
And you have to, I mean, but we have the tools because you need a salary. At the end, you need a salary, and you need to if you have your sons or your daughters or whatever, or your dog or yourself, you need to pay the light, you need to pay the gas, and you need to pay the water in your house. So you need a salary, and to need a salary, there are rules, and these rules are written in a way in which you have to be present by this kind of publication, and it's not easy. But we can change it. Everything can be changed. So I think that now is important to keep in mind what we need, but we also have to think about how to change all these things. Slowly, I would say not slowly, we can do it faster than we are doing, but coordinating all, or try to coordinate all the people that, I will believe if this platform of French people sends this kind of journal free and open access and so on, I will be the first to just send my papers there, every paper. And the other will get very seriously concerned because they will lose the business, and they will lose jobs, and they will lose money, and the people that is driving the last model of Mercedes will be very, very worried that he cannot have the other new model of Mercedes too. So, but I think we can do that. So, what do you want to do? Do you want to have 5 minutes, or you want to? I mean, for me, there's no problem to continue with that.
5 minutes, stop. Pee time.
Okay.
Okay. So pee time, 5 minutes, and we come back. Thank you. Great.
¿Te gustó?
Well done. Great. Very nice, ¿eh?
Esta es muy relajada, no es terrible, no es, oh Dios mío, ahora me viene el diablo, muy relajada. Pero bueno, sí, muy bien.